Hey, how are you? Hopefully everything's going fantastically well and you're having a great day. Anyway, today I want to talk to you about, drivers. We talked about ambition, we talked about, what turns people on, what makes them get up in the morning, what makes them excited, what motivates them to do what they do. I fear there's a lot of people out there that have fallen into whatever it is that they do. They've never found their passion. They've never found their purpose, but it is never too late. I'll give you a little bit of potted history about myself. So I left school at 16. I was not academic in any way, had limited attention span, limited intelligence, and just didn't get school. It was something to get through. And I think that's like many people, right? A lot of people feel the same way. And it's a kind of one size fits all. I'm not going to denigrate school in any way. Some people it works very well for. I just wasn't one of those people. And if you were, fantastic, and I hope you did extremely well. But essentially what we were told, the story that we were told was, if you work hard, if you study hard, if you get good grades, you can then maybe go to university or college, right? From there, if again you work hard, you study hard, you get good grades, you'll graduate with a degree. Hopefully that degree will be useful to you. Hopefully then that will enable you to have a career, not just a job, but a career. And from there you will be able to build the resources necessary to have a family potentially, to buy a home, to drive a car, maybe to have a couple of holidays a year, and if you're fortunate, you can save for a pension, and when you're about 65 to maybe 68, you'll be able to retire and enjoy the fruits of your labour, maybe helping with the grandchildren at that point, maybe contribute to society in a different way. And eventually, that will be your lot, and you will be well thought of and loved, and your contribution to society will have been well made. And that was the so-called American dream. It's also called the UK dream, although it wasn't called a dream, but it was the state, that was the way that certainly people of my generation, I think generations before me, were persuaded that that was the right thing to do. And to a large degree, it is and still is the right thing to do. And I wouldn't denigrate anybody at all who has that sort of aspiration and those sorts of plans. And I would say more power to you. I would say there wasn't much choice back in the day. You either worked hard at school, you got the good grades, or maybe you weren't capable of the grades like myself. You left early, you fell into dead-end jobs, as I did, and you had to kind of, take the knocks of life. And when you'd had enough of taking the knocks of life, you then would basically have to go back to square one, acquire a skill of some description, acquire maybe a little business of some description that takes you out of that situation, and then hopefully change your life back onto the track that we just described before. And that's pretty much what happened to me. So I was in dead-end jobs, couldn't get anything else, age of 16, working 60-hour weeks, looking for any sympathy on that front. You could say it was my own fault. Well, I just wasn't capable at that time, it just wasn't mature enough. That was all on me. But I had an interest always in tech. I had an interest in, security, how things worked, and one thing led to another, and I managed to find my way through, and I've had a career of 30 plus years in cybersecurity. I'm still working in it, hence the mask. I could still probably work in it for another 20 years, even though I'm 56. You think, well, how's that even possible? It's because I'm a super nerd. I will sit there 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours a night watching tech videos, how to do, testing, hacking. That's my hobby, right? But I've realized that, I've done this for 30 years now. So it's time for a new purpose, potentially. And I think I was looking at some research, I think it's from the CIPD, so that's the Chartered Institute of Personnel Development, which is like an HR organisation in the UK. And they were talking about something called MAP, that the happiest people are the people who achieve MAP. Well, what is MAP? So MAP stands for Mastery, of a subject. In my case, it happened to be cybersecurity, and I'd like to think that I'm reasonably good at it. I'm, not too bad at it. After that length of time, you'd expect you to be quite decent at it, right? To the point where that mastery will enable you to earn a decent living. The A stands for autonomy. So, how much control do you have over your work? How much control do you have over your day-to-day existence? Now, this is a bone of contention for many people, and it's often said that people don't leave bad jobs, they leave bad managers. And that's certainly been my experience. I've pretty much worked for myself for the last, let's say 20 years. So the last sort of permanent job I had was probably, let's say, early 2000s. And I left for a variety of reasons, but I wanted to sail my own course. I wanted to be responsible for me, fully accountable for me, and if I chose to do more, I would reap the benefits of that. And if I chose to do less, I would suffer the consequences of that. And finally, the last letter, P, stands for purpose. And that's a greater idea than yourself in that instance. So typically it means being in a role of service of some description, offering your services to other people, potentially to solve problems that they may have. And again, I've been very fortunate to be able to do that as part of my job. So I've inadvertently, unbeknownst to myself, managed to achieve MAP. But it was a really circuitous route. It was a very non-direct, indirect route. I didn't plan it. I had no idea about it. I just had a North Star in my head, and I just felt what was right to me and what wasn't right to me. And so I just was guided by, that doesn't feel right. That doesn't feel right. That feels right. That way. And I just, you might say, bumbled my way through. But I used a couple of basic tools, which I'm going to share with you now. And it's, again, I'm a very thick guy. I'm not too intellectual, right? So I'm going to say, I keep everything as simple as possible. I have some really basic principles. And probably principles is stretching it a little bit. So I basically work out, is this thing that I'm heading towards going to be harmful or harmless to me? That's the first thing. So I've got harmful, obviously I don't want to be going near that, and harmless. I'm not going to do harm to anyone else, and it's not going to be harmful to me. So if I look at a subject, whatever that subject is, I'm not going to lean into it if it's going to cause harm to myself or other people. So that, you can make a fortune if you're a drug dealer, right? You can make a fortune if you were maybe dealing in illicit substances, apart from, there's a number of different things that you could do that you can make a lot of money with, but it just wouldn't sit right. So is it harmful or harmless? And the second thing is it useful or useless? So is it useful to me and to others, this thing that I'm offering to do? Or is it useless? Is it junk values? And there's all sorts of things. We talk about junk, junk food. We put the junk food in, we get the junk results. But having junk values is just as harmful. In fact, it's probably more harmful. If you've got the junk values, then everything else that follows is going to be pretty much junk, garbage out. So it was really important for me to align my values with what I was trying to do. So that was my purpose. My purpose was always to try and help if I could, and not to hinder if I couldn't. So get out of the way. So that's my approach. It's a little box, if you want to say, a little quadrant like this, and you'd have harmful, useless on one side. Try and stay away from those things. It could be food, it could be people, it could be activities, it could be behaviors. Just stay away from that stuff if you can. Easier said than done. And then on the other side, you've got harmless and useful. Try and move towards those things. Now, hopefully that's been useful to you. If it has, please let me know. How do you live your life? Have you got any sort of shortcuts that you like to use? Have you got anything that you would like to share with others? Because I'd be really interested to know what you do yourself. Everyone's got their own little methods, their own tips and tricks. We all pick up things as we go through this game called life. So please feel free to share those in the comments. And for now, please like, subscribe, comment, and hit the notification bell. And until next time, have a fantastic day.